The Crash Course Podcast is brought to you in part by DerbyParts.com and Derby Inc. magazine. Live it, breathe it, be it, Derby Inc. And EH Driving. The Wadena Grand Slam, August 6th. Wadena County Fairgrounds, Wadena, Minnesota. This is the Crash Course Demolition Derby Podcast, recorded live at the FingerLakes1.com studios in downtown Seneca Falls, New York. And now your host, Chris Marquardt.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the Crash Course. It's a little sad. A little bit sad watching the intro. All those Keystone Nationals logos are all gone. Back to all the focus now on the Wadena Grand Slam. We're looking forward to that trip coming up in August. Episode number 44 on deck. The Northeast Week of Wreckage officially fully underway. 4 mammoth shows here Saturday. We've got 2 more tomorrow. We've got one Wednesday, and then Saturday and Sunday is going to continue to push that thing forward. Josh Decker not able to make it tonight. We do have Brian Tompkins here in studio. He said he wouldn't miss it for the world because he wants to brag up how well he did at Seneca County. And
hey, Josh Buell was there watching, so he can't bust his balls.
I forgot
about
that.
Waterloo.
I did read that online that Josh made the trip up.
I was not going to comment on that, but
I would.
I
did.
If it's a shitty show, why would you drive 2 hours to watch it? I'm just saying.
That is a valid point.
I mean, if it's a shitty show, I don't drive 2 hours to watch shitty shows.
It's got to be a heck of a hard-hitting show. I mean, look, he's got Band-Aids strapped up and down his shins. He's got.
By the way, we got the Keystone King over here, Pete Hansen, ladies and gentlemen.
There's the big news
here we go.
Way to deflect there. The reigning, defending, back-to-back winner of the Limited Weld events over at the Jefferson County Fair, Keystone Nationals champion. Pete Hansen makes the drive up. Thanks for coming out.
You're
Glad
welcome.
you came. I hear the car was twisted to pieces and you're never going to be able to run it again.
That's just a myth.
Hey, if you notice on the camera, Pete's sitting crooked. Must be he still got that money from Saturday in his back pocket. He's
my God.
kind of sitting like this.
Doing?
Actually, I never even got to check this time.
Well, did they put Melanie's name on it right from there, and she took
No,
care of
it's
it?
mine, but she called me right before I got here, and she goes, "What do you want me to do with this check?" I said, "I just deposit it in one of the banks."
One of the banks.
Nice.
That's a
Which one? The Cayman account or the Swiss account?
No, we don't have them yet. When I quit derbying, that's a possibility.
Wow. You guys.
Chris, how's your Cayman account going so far, bud?
I don't want to talk about it.
0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0.
They sent me a statement and there was all these spots on it, and I'm like, you only need 3. The
Saying-
one before and the 2 after the decimal.
Yeah, saying you have to deposit money or your account's going to be depleted.
I talked to the folks. It's funny you should bring that up. I talked to the folks at the community bank today, and they said, you're being charged a service fee on this one bank account. I said, why? There's nothing in it. They said, well, that's exactly why. You're gonna have to either put money in it, or. And I said, then let's just close that up. Let's just get rid of that. We also got Steve Bucknam. Looks like you're hanging out in the campgrounds, right?
That's right. Hanging out at the Pioneer Campground in LaPorte.
How was that? It sounds palatial.
Actually, it's really quiet, and I got a good night's sleep.
Good, because you drove all night from Brookville to get there, right?
That's right.
That's cool. So, are you in your car?
Yeah, I have my phone plugged in so it doesn't die while we're on it.
Nice, excellent. And he was worried about a signal. Wasn't sure if we were even going to be able to get out. So I'm glad that it's working right now. But unfortunately, for some reason, Skype likes to twist its setting every now and again. So we'll go from seeing Steve, and then we'll go to seeing his roof. But don't change it. I'll fix it on our end. Don't move it, because actually the Skype setting didn't. It's a long story. I don't know how to get into it.
Maybe you'll see Bigfoot.
That would be cool.
Right. Are you gonna go see it?
Then we'll all be famous.
Did you work on your Sasquatch calls?
I did.
But it was a real busy weekend. I mean, we had Allegany County, which was won by Tommy Dowd. He had some real adverse conditions to come through and pick up that win. So congratulations to Tom. Had fuel pump issues in Heat 2. He had a couple guys that were out for blood in Heat number 1. So he turned around. He comes away with a win in Allegany County. After that, we got the report that Matt Gaskin came away with a win in Hemlock, and that was a great looking car after the fact. I mean, that thing bent all the right ways. So it was good to see him picking up that win. And in the feature that Brian Tompkins also participated in, Timmy Ellison comes away with heavy hitter awards after he parked on the back trunk lid of your car, and you know, the 6-foot award that was built by his dad, Wayne.
Yeah.
So he put on a bit of a show there, and Brett Relier, he put on a show and sent a couple of the Wilkins over the wall after that. I heard it was outstanding on
Just
Saturday,
one.
and
Just
it was
one.
just one of them.
Just
Just
one.
one.
And Brett comes away with a win there, and Kevin Charette picked up the compact win, which was good to see. Mike
Yeah.
Felice,
Mike Felice
so
down the
close. He was second.
It was. I wouldn't have wanted to make that call. I told Ralphie Jr. I said, I'm glad that's you, because it came down to they both backed up, they both hit, and how you gonna do it? I mean, that's
Yeah.
the worst type of scenario to ever have, because neither one of them could move after that.
You know, and then you got to fall back onto, you know, their performance prior to that.
But I tell you what, they're both laying it on the whole time.
Yeah, they were
And what
driving
happened,
hard.
what happened to the, you know, okay, well, if they can't move, they both made contact. Oh,
I think
cut it.
yeah.
The fair order's another trophy. Give them both first
Yeah.
place, and
I mean, even you
Split it up.
can even put first and second pay together, split it
Yeah.
up, and then give them a trophy.
Remember the year that
We are talking
the Werner kid.
What's that?
We are talking.
Uh,
What are we talking?
Hey, I was impressed. I was standing there towards the end of the feature, and I was talking with Ralph Alburn Jr.,
Which feature? The compacts?
the big car,
Full size?
and he goes, we raised the
Yeah,
purse.
they put another $1,000 into the.
They paid $1,100 to win.
Yeah.
I mean,
wow.
that's
Yeah.
that's a pretty good
Yeah,
payout.
that's much better than it had been.
Yeah,
past.
that's excellent. So I
And
mean,
it sounds like there's some good changes in the works over there too. I mean,
Yeah.
are we able to talk about this at all or no?
Well, I mean, it's in the discussion stage. I mean, Kyle seems in open arms to a lot of my suggestions that I gave him. It isn't really major stuff. There's two things pretty much which I suggest.
Is it because the suggestions came from you?
No,
Yeah.
no. I mean,
Yeah.
no. I mean, it's just he just asked my opinion on things, and it's like, you know what? Why can't you weld bumpers and brackets on?
Right.
Why can't you run any 8-ply tire, whatever, don't matter what it is, and then the rest of it leave alone.
yeah.
It's
And
it's
that's-
the funny thing that I couldn't get used to, because they had me come there to help officiate and flag, is at our shows, if a bumper comes off, we stop the show and get the bumper off.
most definitely.
If
It's a safety thing.
if
You
a-
have to.
If
You don't have a choice.
a wheel comes off,
You're
well,
good, by the way, Steve. You're
I'm
good.
getting ready to. He's like, no, we don't stop for bumpers. I was like,
What about axles? Like a situation where
Yeah.
an axle comes out
Yeah.
and
There's-
it's still
there's-
connected to the
Yeah,
wheels.
definitely like to
They
see.
have
that-
to stop.
That's just an adjustment that was hard for me, because that's with our shows. That's what we normally do.
You guys do that
That
in
caused
Brockton,
some
right?
issues on a
we
Thursday
do.
night, but whatever it was. But no, he's open to this. He seemed open to it. We talked quite a bit about it, and we'll see what happens. I mean,
Let's-
We
and earlier,
talked a lot on the ride down there. Justin Gilmartin went with me down to the Keystone Nationals, help tape. We had it up in the crow's nest, the catwalk over top of the grandstand, so you could see everything. And due to the rain and everything, we didn't bother with any in-cars because it was that was just a losing proposition. I've endeavored to do the rainy in-car stuff before, and it just never works out between mud, raindrops, and steam. It's just not worth it. But he said what I would like to see is the midweek shows from the beginning of July to end of July in the Finger Lakes adopt the same set of rules that are used Tuesday at Penn Yan, and use that set of rules.
What set of rules is that?
Whatever Tuesday at Penn Yan.
Yeah, Tuesday rules at Penn. Tuesday's rules at Penn Yan got got a bunch of rules that were legal for Saturday show implemented into them for Tuesday. So that's where I
you
wanted.
had to do it.
That's
didn't
kind
you?
of where I wanted to go.
Had to do it, didn't you?
That
That actually wasn't my intention at all. But
His blood pressure was almost back below the danger level, and you had to twist it back up.
I just got to laugh looking at him.
Well,
Watching these little veins starting to go burp, 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 burp.
Ben's like a half step away from flipping over a fire truck right now.
Get that guy a Mountain Dew.
Yeah, you need a Mountain Dew. Calm down.
I understand.
one.
I
We're
understand
good.
this concept. That
But what do
makes
you
a good idea. That's a good
have
idea.
that Tuesday during the week of Yates County Fair, and then use that same set of rules the week of Seneca County Fair, and then go the week after with Total Destruction on their midweek program, and do something like that, and
Like a series almost.
yeah, like.
Well, I
don't know if a series would work because you're not gonna. You've got multiple different driver pools to pull from, and I
That's
don't
true.
think you're gonna get that much overlap. So to do the whole point series thing, that just doesn't.
The biggest issue
it doesn't
I see-
draw.
I'm not. The
Yeah.
biggest issue I see is, unless we do like a big show, a major event, we'll have an economy type class, like, you know, I'll use Cuba as a reference. Economy rules like Cuba had, and then our rules.
Right.
But during our normal, we got one set of rules, and I'm not deviating from them. That's it's stupid.
Because you guys
It's
are
stupid,
actually, I
too.
think you're bigger than all these other little ... If anything, they all should adjust. But I mean, who's the biggest promoter in New York State?
Ben Host.
I'm not a promoter.
No, the promoter. I mean, I really don't know. I never researched it, but honestly, who is?
I would if you want to split hairs.
JM Productions.
Yeah, if you want to split hairs versus number of shows, you'd say JM Productions.
Say JM.
I mean, you pretty much there's no challenge to that at all. I think that's probably. I mean, you could probably argue
They
that
still
for the
really
whole
got that
Northeast.
many shows.
Oh yeah.
How big are they out there in New England, Steve? I mean, GM's still pretty prevalent.
Yeah, they are, but you know what? They're losing more every year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Woodbooger's taking over some of their shows.
Yeah, but I mean, they still got a handful. They got Palmyra, they got Trumansburg, obviously the State Fair.
They still run Monroe.
Monroe. I don't know if Monroe has one or not anymore.
They had Monroe last I knew, but
last
But I don't know if they have a fair
don't think
there
they
or not
had-
anymore because that place is.
Well, the Monroe Fairgrounds were sold to a private developer last I knew.
Yeah, that's why I don't think.
I think if you want number of shows wise, I think they would be the king of.
See,
the
you know,
crowd.
maybe.
But in terms of draw,
Yeah.
I think Total Destruction and probably John King rival one another. They're pretty close.
Yeah.
I mean, would you, in terms of draw and rule set?
What really needs to be done, I think, in the New York State area, I mean, nobody holding their head higher than the next guy. I mean, they all do a good job or whatever. But, you know, you got so many shows in a little clump of time that's like a back-to-back-to-back. I hear it every year. We don't have that in Pennsylvania.
No.
It just don't happen. Our, you know, late in the season, we do have a couple fairs that lap up on top of each other. But, you know, like you guys get them pop. I don't know why anybody in the remote
All the
mind.
fairs up here have
It's
always
the
had.
fairs.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it's always been.
Yeah, the individual fairs that are afraid of losing their show because that's where they make their money.
Yep.
You know, they don't have to pay anything for that mess to make all this money.
Yep.
And why in God's name, what's it matter to them personally if they can draw another 10 guys in there and bring 50 or 60 more people to their grandstands or maybe 100, so they're going to make more money all by just adapting somebody else's rule set
Oh,
Right.
for sure.
to just make things easier for drivers only.
Yeah.
But one thing New York doesn't have, I don't think much of, and I see a lot of it out in the Midwest, and I think it'd be a really great idea for somebody to start doing that.
Wait, let's talk after the show for.
It's it's just a simple, you know, you gotta label, like, Ben, I don't know, your first couple shows of the year, then you got some ladder shows. You got to put in a fix-it rule for them ladder shows. For all the guys that might have bent their car up in the front, but their back's still perfect, let them pull it down and put 2 plates. Small, 3 by 6 by, you know, 1/8 inch, you know, 3/16, whatever it is, over that one bend.
Form to the
2
contour,
sides,
right?
maybe 2 sides.
We've had like what they call a cleanup show at the
Yeah.
end of the year. That's when we used to be over to Black Rock. It was kind of a cleanup show.
Yep.
Guys would call all the time. You know,
Yeah.
it's, what can I do? What can I do? What can I do? I definitely am right up your alley on that concept. I mean, I got an awesome idea from Sam Williams with Blizzard Bash. It's make your own plates
Yep.
that you hand out to the guys and say, there you go.
Yeah, that's after your runs, but
Right, but what I'm saying
Yeah.
is
Like
I
for a
could
fix-it
I
show.
could do the same thing throughout the year.
Yeah.
because I know, like, Keystone Nationals there with Bo Lockwood, you know, I just ran their show, and he's got one backed right up the next weekend.
Right.
And they are being really good about letting us fix our Keystone National cars to support their next show.
Right.
You know, and how intelligent is that? I mean, if they didn't let the guys that put, you know, 2 months into their car to get to that first show, you know, put a little bit of fix it here, fix it there, nothing major, you get a limitation to support their next show, to blow their next show up bigger, you know. And if all drivers get it equal, what do they care?
Yeah. I agree. I mean, that was, you know, I ran Chris's show at Yates County this year, and my body took a beating, but the frame wasn't, you know, there were some parts that were, you know, but it would have been nice if I could have, you know, all right, I could plate this here because it was bent.
Yeah.
You know, to try to run the next show. But
Even though the frame's bent, you know, okay, fine, pull it down. Let us plate 2 sides. We don't want all 4 sides, just 2 sides.
Yep.
You know, okay, so if the bend, you know, when it caves
But
in,
if you can't
it's
even
4
get these
inches.
promoters out here to play fair with one another's rule books
Exactly.
as implemented,
Exactly.
how can you come even close to getting them to adopt universal fix-it rule?
Yeah.
Because like what Brian alluded to, not only does he want to fix a car that's already been run, he wants to take it to another show with another promoter at a different fair. He doesn't want to fix it for Saturday at Yates County. He wants to fix it for Seneca County, which is a different set of rules, more or less.
But just in general, promoters. I mean, I kind of think a promoter is supposed to be business intelligent because they're there to make money. Don't let anybody fool you. They are there to make
shaking
money.
his head.
Absolutely.
If you're business intelligent, and if I was a promoter, I'd sure adapt that rule for one reason and one reason only: to gain more drivers,
Right.
more people, more money in my pocket as a promoter.
Sure.
You know, how you just got to have a little bit of intelligence, business savvy.
I mean, that's the thing. You know, like Ben talked about talking with Kyle about rule changes, and Kyle has said something to me, you know, back before Derby season really was in full swing about, you know, the possibility of being able to weld bumpers and stuff on next year, and you know, because that's the one thing, you know, every year after the Derby, you know, Kyle and I are friends, and I'll go up and we'll talk about the show and you know how he think it went, and how I thought it went, and that's one thing I've said for years is that, you know, it'd be really nice, especially now with the cars getting so expensive. I mean, you knock a front bumper off a shocker and then continue running it, which I've done numerous times. You know, your frame rails get bending in all sorts of funky ways, but
$1,200 down the drain.
Yeah, just to have, you know, be able to weld the bumper on, and you know, like Ben said with the tires, and you know, we were talking, and I mean, you can buy the V treads for, you know, a lot cheaper than you can buy a 715.
Yeah.
You know, 8-ply tire, and you know, I mean, it's going to help the driver in both ways. I mean, you'll have a better tire, and you know, or a good tire, and you won't spend as much as buying the 715.
I mean,
so.
just how you ran Waterloo, okay? Mm-hmm. What'd that pay to win?
Paid $1,100 to win.
What'd you pay for that car you bought from me?
$1,200.
$1,200.
Yep. So if I'd have won and not broke anything at all, I would have been $100 in the hole.
That's
No,
not
a lot
true.
more than that, actually.
That's
Yeah.
completely not
By
true.
the time
because-
you change your oil, by the time you do
Yeah.
this, by the time you
You're
do
right.
that.
You're right.
Yeah, and you know, it's just people don't really. I guess, you know, honestly, I think a lot of promoters just don't care.
I
Yeah.
sent 2 payments for an intake and a carburetor.
Forgot about them.
I didn't.
but you sent them, but I paid it. Let's get that open. Chris.
Oh yeah, no,
Chris
don't
didn't buy me any
misunderstand that.
parts.
Don't misunderstand
Yeah.
that. No.
I don't have PayPal. He
I didn't-
does. So
I didn't- yeah.
let's get that out. I don't. There's enough
There's
rumors
no
going around about
there's
me.
no sponsorship.
No, there's
No.
enough rumors about me at the moment.
No,
We
I
don't need to
didn't
hear that Chris is buying me
I didn't
parts.
sponsor Brian because I wanted a car that was going to win.
Ain't that the truth?
That's why there was a Derby ink. That's why there was a Derby ink decal on the hood if he hits his car.
And a crash.
Hey,
Hey, I appreciate that $100, Chris, that night. I really do.
I didn't give you nothing.
Yeah, you did.
How did I give you $100?
You walked right up to me and said, "Here, I appreciate it." Don't you remember?
That might have happened.
That must have been at the after party.
just, that must have been the victory celebration.
Yeah.
A few Long Island iced teas, and I got $100 out of
There
it.
we go.
Steve, man, it was good. Thanks a lot for joining us here. What do you think about some of these rules?
Oh, we're bouncing to another subject. You can't tell them two work together much, do you, Brian and Chris?
Deflect.
Like,
Well, listen, I think we're talking about Keystone Nationals, right?
Yes. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, you know, both topics. I mean, we want to talk about Keystone Nationals for sure, and that's where all the apparently the transactions happened. But I mean, what I was more interested in some of your thought. You know, given where you guys are at, there's a lot of 80s and newer stuff, a lot of stock stuff. You know, what are some of your thoughts about the things like fix-it rules and aftermarket stuff?
Sure. Well, I think there's a lot of difference between being a successful promoter financially and being a successful promoter having a good show. JM Productions is a successful promoter financially, and
Yes,
they
he
don't
is.
care about the drivers.
None.
There's great promoters. I mean, we'll use Keystone Nationals as an example. Bo did an excellent job with that show. I have no idea what kind of money he made for the fair, but I don't think they go hand in hand.
Right.
And sometimes you have to really kind of balance that out. It's tough to say. I think you have to do something like what Ben's doing and have a cleanup show at the end of the year where you allow a little bit more than you do during the rest of the season.
Right.
But if you have those kind of rules as a fix-it rule through the entire normal season, I just see it being abused.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that.
what I've been seeing like out west a lot.
It was.
They take like you got your Bash for Cash,
Right.
Yeah.
and I think Bash for Cash they got 40 some shows, county fair shows, in Ohio.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, 37. They have 37 days.
is that what it is?
Yeah.
Well, Tim Clark is
I think he's turned down 5 or 8, something like that.
ruling most of Ohio.
Yeah.
So he wants his bash cars to fill up his rest of his shows, so he allows that fix-it rule.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Which is very intelligent to keep the cars coming.
Yep. Absolutely.
Just like Total Destruction. If they have a race this night, their next show they should have the fix-it rule to keep more cars coming right on down through the room. You
There's a
only
couple
get
of-
you only get one time.
Right. But
There's a
we've been there, done that.
And the other thing is, geographically, you're not going to get that overlap.
No.
Yeah,
Because
not
you
up
have,
here.
I mean, the 3 shows right now in the fair season, the Total Destruction has is Canandaigua, Ontario County, in the Finger Lakes, Malone, New York, which is,
God's country up
yeah,
north.
I mean, it's like 20 more feet and you're in Canada, and then Morris, New York, which is southeast of here, which
yeah,
is,
Oneana.
Yeah,
but
Oneana.
don't Morris have 2 shows?
Yeah, we have.
they have the spring show.
Actually, 3 shows, 4 shows if you count total shows. We have the Spring Fling. We have a show on Thursday night.
Yeah.
Next week, and we have 2 shows on Sunday.
Yeah. I mean, if they have it on Thursday, the guys that ran Thursday and wiped up, I mean, maybe they just stood their nose, bent at the firewall, let them pull it back down, and don't give them no more than frame thickness, 1/8 inch. If you give a guy a 3x6 plate, 1/8 inch, on top and on the side of his frame, you're more likely to have that guy pull that car back down, buzz that on.
Yeah,
You can have
they're
a-
gonna pull that down, and they're gonna put a plate on there
Yep.
like I would put on there. It's about 3 times the size of what it's supposed to be.
Well, that's your job.
And then they get all
No, as soon as-
upset
no, as-
when I tell them to cut it off, or the ones that I've loaded before get all upset, and then that's all they hear. So it's like, you know what?
Yeah, but you got to draw a line.
I did draw a line.
If I was an inspector
He drew a
at
line.
that
He said,
show,
"You can't do it anymore."
I'm going to say,
a big line.
yeah, I'm going to say right straight up.
Yeah.
I told you what it was. I'm going to allow an 1/8 inch or 3/16 of an inch, something like that.
yeah.
But if you abused the rule and tried to make me look like a jackass,
You lose it.
Percentage tolerances. This is
I'm not going to give you the chance to
5%
trim it
is what it was.
down. I'm not going to give you the chance to trim it down. You're going to take it right off now,
Yeah.
and I don't care if you chop your frame up doing it.
Yeah,
Because you abused my rule. And
That-
you do that one time, and that usually cures it.
I've seen that conversation happen.
Yeah. I see that conversation happen with a pin car at Cuba County once.
And if they come back at you with any kind of ignorance or lip, you load them. It's simple.
I've been there, done that.
I
And
saw
the next
that
time they
happen.
talk to you, do they talk to you a little more respect? Yes, Mr. Haas.
Nope.
Or they just sat in their car and shut up and made sure they don't say anything because they know it's going to turn out bad for them?
Yeah, it's hard to say. It's
Actually, kind of what you just described there about that whole if you set a hard line, I saw that happen a couple weeks ago.
yeah. We all know where that went.
Not good.
I hear more and more about these New York guys up here. Fights and like Decker swinging at young kids or something, or kids swinging at him or something. I hear all kinds of.
I don't know. I
think there was something just recently.
We had one get put up on a block wall, and
He's standing on top of the roof of his car.
Basically, standing on top of the roof of the car, jumped in another car during the derby and fired it up and tried to move it so he could go after Brett.
I heard about this.
Yeah.
I just didn't want to
Wow,
say
I
no
didn't-
names.
I didn't
Then
realize.
we had another guy leave.
I didn't
when
realize
they
that happened.
They started counting down at 10. He left at 10. When he got to 5, he was almost over halfway down the track. They hit another guy at the other end of the track.
I missed that one, and I was on the track. I
But
guess
you
I
know,
wasn't
that's
paying
the
much
thing with these
attention.
county fairs. They tolerate that bullshit.
Well, he was all,
Because that person that jumped out of his car and went to try to jump in another car would be evicted for life out of that fairgrounds. You're done, buddy. I don't want retards like you back. I don't know who it is. I don't even know the names of the people, to be honest with you.
well, we don't need to say no names.
But
I mean, it's
you just don't deal with crap
examples.
like that.
It's,
Well,
I didn't know we were going this far. I mean, this was going to be a love-in for Pete Hansen. Pete,
Well,
you're so
actually,
great.
I've been trying to keep you guys away from me. To be 110% honest.
Ladies and gentlemen,
he's
it's the
doing it-
Keystone King, Pete Hansen.
He's doing a diversion technique.
Yeah.
This is like, yeah, I'm doing what you guys do.
Hey,
Bounce off.
Chris, what I want to know is if Pete does come to Broome County this week, are you going to have him and Decker sitting at the same table to sign autographs, or would there
right
be,
now.
you know?
Listen right
Well,
now.
Decker
Hang on, wait a
got my
minute, wait.
shipment of welding wire. So
Yeah,
he'd be
I
ready.
heard Decker's
So
getting
he can-
nervous about this week.
He's
You
getting
know,
ready.
Ready for when Richie drives over him?
Yep.
that's
That's
can
what
happen.
I heard.
You know, let's think about this. Broome County. Josh Decker, brother, is the inspector.
Yep.
Okay.
Who he does not talk to.
Now, wait. Let's get this scenario all straight. And as much
poor Josh.
as famous, as Chris Marquardt made Josh Decker, because Josh Decker was a never a nobody, and moved on to being this famous guy, getting guys to build him cars all over the country and going all over, and I mean, just Josh Decker, famous, but you
Actually,
never
did you
really.
get that- did you get
You did it to make him famous. I mean, don't get me wrong. The kid's good on behind camera. He's good with words.
Did you get the
everything.
proposal that I sent to Hansen Motorsports about getting one of my clients built a car?
No.
No?
But I am right here tonight. If Josh Decker is listening, if you got any pull at that Broome County Fair, let Chris Marquardt run my car that I run at the Keystone Nationals without no trouble. Let him get in it. The man has done so much for you, so let's return the favor and let him run my car.
I don't have the money to run my camera. I can't do that.
We will find
I'll run
somebody.
your camera and figure out Pete Hansen's car.
That's right.
Oh yeah.
There you go. We got that card. So we need somebody to text, do something in here. We need to know if I can take my car Wednesday night for Chris Marquardt to sit behind the wheel of Pete Hansen's car and wreck it. I don't care what he does with it. I don't care if he holds it to the floor, blows it up. I don't care what he does with it. But he's not going to go out there and shut it off because I'll beat him if he does.
No.
He's going to run the car like he stole it and put a hell of a show on
Did
for
you?
the crowd.
Did you? I don't know if you. My phone's going off.
It's probably Melissa.
That's my wife. Oh, thanks, Pete. By the way, you know what this text message says? She says, "What was that about Long Island iced teas?" She's not worried about me driving. She's not worried about me in your car.
Well, she knows if you're
That
Pete
was-
Hansen's car, you're not. It's not going to bend. You're not going to get hurt. I mean, let's be honest.
I left that track at 2:30 in the morning and drove 4 hours to get home. There was no Long Island iced teas involved. It wasn't
I
even
forgot
close.
to tell you, my car don't have a seatbelt in it.
I'm not worried about it.
Okay.
Neither
was I because I forgot to put it in.
I got plenty of duct tape. No, but we were joking back and forth. Pete sent me a picture of the hood of his car, and there's a Derby Ink sticker on the hood of it, and I'm like, that's cool. And if you win the Keystone Nationals, the reason why is because you put that sticker on, and if you don't, it had nothing to do with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
So I almost won the raffle car. Basically, they had 3,000 tickets sold. My name was on one of them. It counts as almost. And Josh said, if you win that, you have to drive it. I'm like, if I win that, the first thing I'm doing is I'm backing off the line, and I'm hitting Pete Hansen nose to nose. And as soon as I hit him, I'm poking out the window, and I'm doing this. Shut it off.
Nah, you go old school on him.
So Pete comes up after he wins, and Josh tells him the story, and Pete looks at me. And the story goes is if you do that to Pete Hansen, it's over until it's over. And Pete backs away, and I'm like, Pete, the Derby's over, buddy. It's over. You don't have to do that. your eyes are rolling back, man.
I mean, honestly, I think my car's good enough to go down there to compete at Broome. I mean, there's some tough drivers and tough builders, but we're going to put a rookie in that car. It's not me in the car. So the car is legit, through and through the Broome County rules. What little bit of rules there really
Yeah,
is.
there is no rule.
Yeah, I think
But-
there was rules down there.
But what I'm saying is I got one plate
What do you think?
on the outside of the frame rail, which is no different than a bumper shock. Now, don't get me wrong. You're allowed, I don't know how many inches of bumper shock. Down at Broome County, they weld them past the side of a frame. I got 11 and a half inches of plate. 3/8, not on the top, side, bottom. It's on the side. That's it. No different than a bumper shock or a bumper bracket.
Absolutely.
So there shouldn't be nothing wrong with that versus a guy taking a bumper shock, which is, I think, round circumference. It ain't flat, so it actually it's got more structure to it, burned down the side of the frame rail.
I agree.
There should be no reason why that car shouldn't go down there to Broome County and run without a bunch of crap.
Is it gonna have steering?
Yeah, I got to fix Frank Palmer's welds, but yeah.
Hey, not for nothing though. If you did run that car, who would you full track first? Would it be Decker? Would it be Brett? Would it be Richie? I mean, what?
He'd hide in a goddamn corner.
I think you would.
Goddamn right. I learned from the best. You go down there, you hide in the corner.
You do hide in the corner for a while.
You don't get too close, you go on the wall.
Yeah, you go up over the wall.
You go in the middle and you stay in the middle and you beat everybody on the wall.
I know somebody who can give me good advice on not getting on a wall.
I know somebody that knows how not to be on the wall.
I don't even know what to think. Who do I? If I'm sitting in your car, I know everybody's going to be coming after me, and I'm going to be out there fish out of water.
Listen, all you got to do is hold the right foot on the floor.
That's all you got to do, and
That's
they'll
right.
scatter like
because that red line
freaking
was
raid.
singing last night. No steering.
No.
Do you run a tack
Over
to see
30
what you
minutes.
turn?
Over
What's that?
30 minutes with no steering.
Yeah.
And you still went out there, took on some of the best in the business, the
Yeah.
top drivers in the Northeast. Came away with a win, second straight in the Keystone Nationals. And was that a rewarding night or what?
For sure, by
After
far.
all the adversity with the motors and
with all
transmissions.
that,
and
yeah. Ugh.
It wasn't good. But anyways, and there you go again about this, giving this young kid a fair chance on a derby track. Well, that was 23 years of experience sitting out there to know what to do when you lose that steering and how to try to stay in the game.
Absolutely.
Where a lot of
and,
these,
and on the flip side of that, in the stock derby, it was Chance Smith picking up the win in that, and he was a young kid. He was a rookie last year.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, people come even little fairs like ours. I mean, people come and they whine because they're the ones that just want to come and have fun, but they whine about the guys that build their cars to try to win.
yeah.
I just don't get that.
There shouldn't be no whining. If you're just coming to have fun, and somebody puts their heart, their soul, and everything, they just live that sport. They live in their garage, 11 months out of the 12-month year building these cars. Don't take that away. And he's still built to the rules. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to tell you what, you won't find a loose nut or a bolt on his car.
Nope.
And everything's tidied up, everything's neatened up. There ain't no issues there.
Nope.
It's going to take a lot to put that guy out.
Absolutely.
What we do need to do is I'm going to cut you off real quick. We've got David Day, who's just called in on the hotline. We're going to get with him here in just a minute. But first, we got to tell you a little bit about some of the action that's coming up here in the next couple of weeks. Have a look.
Total Destruction Demo Productions is primed for an explosive 2014. Based out of Trumansburg, Steve Manshaki and Lead Inspector Ben Haas have a busy summer with 4 epic events over 7 nights scheduled all over New York State. At the Ontario County Fair in Canandaigua, New York, July 22nd and 26th. Then the grueling Double Down follows with the Otsego County Fair in Morris planned for July 31st and August 3rd, and the Franklin County Fair in Malone set for August 2nd and 4th. For more details, visit www.totaldestructiondemo.com or call 607-769-6820.
O'Reilly Auto Parts proudly presents the Plymouth County Fair, July 26th, Lamar's, Iowa. Promoter Brandon Tyson has teamed with Ultimate Derby to bring a national level to one of the most aggressive and largest county fairs in the Midwest. 3,000 to win modified, 1,500 to win stocks, and 1,000 to win compacts. Passengers are welcome if you dare to ride along. The event is streamed free to the public online with 10,000 people. All courtesy of O'Reilly Auto Parts, the Plymouth County Fair, July 26th, Lamar's, Iowa. Online at www.plymouthcoderby.com. That's www.plymouthcoderby.com.
Well, that's a problem. That's the Wadena Grand Slam track, and it does not have any audio playing in it. Minimum 4,000 to win, 800 to win for the compact cars, the compact trucks, and the chain and go trucks. Excellent event out there. Get out there and go say hi to them. WadenaCountyFair.com. The Wadena Grand Slam, WadenaCountyFair.com. Again, get out there, check them out. Presented by Custom Car Crushing, Performance Rear End, and Double Diamond Motorsports. Some of the highlights there that we saw last time we were out in Minnesota, and there's all sorts of team action that's coming up when we get back out there to the Wadena Grand Slam. Take a look at that, see what happened. We've got David Day joining us here on the hotline. David, can you hear us all right?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. Well, welcome to the program. We wanted to talk a little bit about your outing at the Keystone Nationals, former Mad Dog Award winner. You had that great-looking Edsel, had some problems there in the feature, a little bit of a couple scary moments. Why don't you take us through your experience in the main event at the Keystone Nationals?
First off, I'd like to say congrats to Pete there, and thank you to him and some of his helpers. I definitely learned a lot after the feature from looking at his car and talking to those guys. And most people at his level, they shoo you away when you get close, so I got to thank them for that.
Yeah, you'll never see that from us. We welcome anybody in our family. It don't matter. You know?
Yeah. That's what my cousins and I, we all build together. We try to teach as many people as much as we can, and we appreciate learning what we don't know. There's a lot of that yet. So,
were all the black and white cars your cousins that were out there in the stock feature?
Stub Dutzel.
all but the 35 car. He's actually my girlfriend's cousin, and
There's
he
about
only
20
lives
of them.
a house or two up from me. So,
There was plenty of them. That was for sure. You guys did real well out there in that stock feature.
thank you. We try.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping David would last a little longer because I think he was kind of on my side there, and we talked a little bit. And he says, "I think Pete, you're my only friend out here." And I says, "Don't worry about it. You're safe with me." You know, I says, "We got bigger fish to fry in this feature." And I says, "We'll just get through this, and then if we have to at the end, we'll take care of it." But
Well, you and Josh got split up too.
yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody, I mean, really, there wasn't. Steve, back me up on this. You were announcing out there. There wasn't really a whole lot of team driving. I didn't see. I mean, everybody was pretty much out there, and there wasn't any one guy on an island by himself, and there wasn't anybody with a bunch of help in his back pocket.
No, not really. Every now and then you'd see a couple guys kind of make an on-track connection, so to speak. I mean, you'd see somebody maybe hit someone and hold them for someone else to come and hit them. But that was really just like very fluid. And those relationships changed throughout the heats and features, and you could see it happen. So it was pretty neat.
That was no question that they changed. some of those relationships got a lot worse after the heats. But it was impressive. I mean, to watch that feature, and I'm not just building this thing up because they were so good to the show. By far and away the best feature I've ever seen. It was outstanding. It was a 20-car feature. Just outstanding, and to watch Pete drive for 20, 25 minutes with no steering and still come away with a win like that, it was very, very impressive.
I'm just happy hearing for the driver's sake of it. I mean, much rain and everything that was down there, and the track actually came in for the feature.
Yeah,
it was an awesome surface.
And credit to those guys that worked all night to get that track to what it was, because it was a sloppy mess there.
I saw some pictures of the heats, and I mean, there was. It looked like they were running in, 12-inch ruts. I mean, it was bad.
Oh, I'm here to tell you, my boys, they said, after watching a little bit of what they seen pictures, the guys that worked for me, they didn't want to come in this morning. Because they knew what their duty was going to be. Toby, clean this. Toby, clean. I mean, the extension cords, the welders covered with mud, everything. I mean, the whole inside of my enclosed, up the walls. I mean, there was more mud. And I still got mud coming out of me in places I didn't know existed.
David, how many tire combinations did you bring once you knew the weather forecast? I mean, what were you bringing in terms of trying to bring wider tires, narrow tires, heavy bars, shallow treads? What did you have?
To be honest with you, I had 3 tires. I had one spare for the front, one spare for the rear. I built this car. I had no goodies. I started fresh. The only thing that was used on this entire car was my gas pedal and my engine. Everything else I bought brand new.
Nice.
Wow. I started in October with a bare frame sitting in the garage, and we went front to back, everything. Brand new ball joints, tie rods, wheels, rear end. I mean, everything, every nut, bolt, screw, you name it, it was new.
That's the way to do it.
So,
How many did you bring, Pete?
Just call him the Goodyear truck.
It was 10. It was
I think up in the front of my trailer there's 2, 4, 6. That holds 8.
It was 10 sets of rears, Pete.
Is that what you seen?
Yeah.
Did you count them?
Yeah. Because it was like looking at a late model trailer.
Not to mention Brodzinski's aluminum wheels.
Yeah. They were there too.
Those got some.
Hey, don't feel bad when I get home. There's a small room that's supposed to be the bathroom in the shop, stacked to the ceiling with everything mounted and ready to roll with the centers. Because in the winter months, that's what I do, because I know when my shows are going to take. If I waste wheels at every show or tires, I got the backups right there. And I'll tell you the big key I found lately, and it's kind of just come to me this year. It's kind of spring explosion thanks to some of my teammates, Jason Brodzinski and Ryan Songluski and them guys. They pushed me to start running these bead locks, these back bead locks. And what a world of difference. I mean, because I didn't run bead locks in the heat.
Right.
And I lost one of the tires on the right or left side or whatever it may be. And boy, I could feel the difference in the car. Like it's, I'm starting to spool it up and I'm not moving. Yeah, I'm like, all right, you're burning like having a broken axle. I put my bead locks on for the feature because I knew my tires were exposed. They almost inverted my rims. I mean, they're just destroyed. They're chewing on the bracing in the rear and all this. Bead locks are still there. Tire looks like it's still. I mean, they don't spin. It's still there. Actually it digs a little
Well, that
better.
ended up being the difference, really, because the
Chris Quinzler, yeah,
both rear tires were off the bead, and the wheels were just spinning in the centers.
Well, last year, same deal. It come down to me and Brian Bowman, and you got last year was Steve Siopa, yeah, same deal. Steve's both rear wheels, got him up against the tires. He had wheels down, same thing. Brian Bowman, same deal. I'm seeing a lot more of guys, even though they got double tires, solid wheels, solid center, whatever, not running these bead locks. It's a change of the future, in the big money sport that you got to run bead locks.
Did you have bead locks, David?
Absolutely. When I saw that in the rules, there was no doubt in my mind. I was sticking a set on there, and there's a lot of this stuff that I grew up with dirt track circle racing, and there's a lot of this stuff I'm going, why in the hell hasn't anybody thought of this before?
Yep.
So, and as soon as I started seeing those come out, and we were allowed to run them. I absolutely decided that was what had to be on there.
Yeah.
I figured, like everybody said, go big or go home. I taught Steve Siopa there in the spring when I started building this. I got some parts off of them, and I told him, I said, I'm buying the best I can. I said, there's no sense in me going up there without the best because it's just a waste of my time and my money if I don't.
Right.
So. I made one mistake, and that mistake is the one that I think cost me a good run in the future there. I would have loved to have been on that track a lot longer. It definitely was my kind of track. Anybody that's ever watched me knows that I like to be on that skinny pedal a lot and often. So, but one mistake is all it took.
Yep.
Well, that's what happens. I mean, you have a show like that with that caliber of drivers, and I mean that's all it takes. And I mean, everybody does it once in a while,
Sure. What you got, Steve?
To be honest with you, it was a piece of black tape. That is what screwed me. Piece of black tape.
Right. What you got, Steve?
Talking about making key mistakes that cost you. Quinzler was actually still moving around okay with those two flat tires in the rear. But what cost him is when he and Pete almost went nose to nose. And, Pete had no steering, and he was having a tough time. And I don't know if you caught it, but Pete, you guys actually hooked like front bumpers into each other's front wheel. And when you did that, it locked up Quinzler's passenger front wheel. It locked it right back against the firewall. And that's really what was stopping him when those rear tires were spinning, because once that wheel locked up, he couldn't push it around anymore. Then you had him right where you wanted him.
Well, it took a lot for me to, it wasn't like, all right, I got him where I want him, I'll back up, I'll steer over here, I'll put it in gear, and I'll send it. It just, for some reason or another, I mean, the Derby gods were with me at that point. It just like, burp, 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 just kept backing back and forth, boom, boom, and got him sideways. And then, then he yells at me after it was over. Because I didn't, the official come out and yelled at me too. He's hollering at me, stop, stop. I says, why? Well, I'm sitting in my car like this. My front end ain't bent, but it's just, the rear end had bent. The rear end had bent enough. I'm like this, and it's all steam and smoke from his tires. And I ship sailed it on him again. They're yelling at me, he broke his stick. That's on the other side of the car. I can't see that. Yeah. Don't yell at me like I'm the bad guy. And then I feel bad because Chris, I hurt his wrist. It was all swelled up at the end of the night. And it's like, dude, I didn't mean to. He says, you didn't have to hit me that hard. I was already done. I said, I really didn't know that. I said, I could see you were struggling, but, a lot of guys just don't give up, not unless you really put the boots to them.
You should have just
It's not like he sent a signal flare up and said, hey, I'm done.
No.
It's like you can't see through the steam and everything else.
No, and through that whole night, like me and Steve got into a little battle there, and, everybody looks and they're hollering, oh, he hit the door. But, I'm backed up against the wall, against the tires, and I got a long run onto him. To bend the front wheel. I mean, that's where I'm headed. I mean, I'm going to slow you down. I'm going to try to brake you. I'm going to try to do whatever I can. I'm not going to beat up the A-pillar or the pillars in the rear of a wagon, just to make jokes or whatever. I'm going to try to put you out, And I come down through there. Oh, you're wide open, flat into it. It's a muddy surface. And, people don't understand looking in the stands, oh, he hit the door. Or, even Steve, and I don't mean to ever hurt anybody, but I've been in the derby business for 23 years. I've used my damn door as a stop sign, and I've got clobbered in the door, but not once in my life when I tried to pull that door did I ever look at the other guy that hit me in the door and ever said anything, because I knew it was my fault as a driver. I used it as a stop sign, and I had that pretty much, and, in the league we're in, I watch the bash. I see hundreds of doors. But I'm here to tell you, every one of them is never really, I've watched, is never the aggressor that's hitting the door. It's always the guy that's getting his ass in a bad bind, and he pulls the damn door to stop the guy that's going to junk him. And then the guy that's the aggressor and doing the better job always gets the slap on the wrist or gets yelled at. And, oh, well, you're supposed to have full control of your car. Well, I'm sorry. I got my foot in the floor. It's in a heated moment because we're duking it now. And it's just like getting in a fist fight. Whoa, stop. You weren't supposed to punch him in that side of the ear. He turned his head, though. Well, I was already in swing, and it's just that stuff.
Well, one of those deals was you were going to hit Danny Trent, and Danny Trent pulled out of the way.
Yeah.
Trent just moved. He wasn't going to get socked, and there wasn't much you could do.
No, I was coming full throttle, and I was going to hit Danny Trent, and he went, and I went, boom. I didn't know what was on the other side. I said, well, what are you going to do?
Yeah. That was actually probably one of the ones that the fans in the stands, from what I could hear, were complaining the most about, and it was the one that you had the least control over.
Yeah.
I mean, you were 3/4 of the track away. You were going to just blow Danny's axle right out from under his wagon. And, he's a veteran, too. He saw you coming, and he just timed it perfectly and moved out of the way. And, that door was right there. You had no choice.
Yeah, and then it makes me look like the bad guy. And, man, I'm never there to hurt anybody. I'm there to junk people's stuff, but never to hurt nobody, and I have no reason to hurt anybody. I wouldn't want it done to me, But if somebody hits me in the door because I pulled it, I just say, well, dummy, you shouldn't have pulled that.
Done that
but I'm not going to throw my hands out the window and start hollering at the guy for hitting me and stuff like that. That was what happened years ago when I was in the,
Save that for a drama club, pretty much.
Yeah, and it made me feel bad, because they did it to me, and I'm like, dude, you just hollered that I hit you in the door, but I bent your front wheel and folded it over and locked it up.
Yeah.
Well, if I hit your full door, I wouldn't. That means, how'd I bend your wheel?
Exactly.
When you come in on an angle like this, and you catch that wheel and the car spins, and the car flips and it hits the door. I mean, I had, I kind of went and looked at the cars, and I do see right where my bumper imprint was on the door, and it was, 1.5 feet of bumper onto the driver's door.
Yeah, I mean, that's where it's key to have a group and a set of officials that are veterans that know what they're looking for, and they know exactly.
Not going to make an overreaction call.
Exactly. Yep. They know what's deliberate. They know what's pulled. They know what's accidental. They've been there themselves.
Yes.
Most of them, majority of them.
And I've used it, and I ain't going to blame nobody for using it, but I've used it. I think every derby guy that's had any more than 5 years of experience on behind a wheel has used that driver's door for a stop sign.
Sure.
For sure.
I think that's partly how we benefit from having the officials that we have at Keystone Nationals, because all those guys around the track, they have the experience. They know what's going on when they see that stuff.
We're running up about 10 minutes to go. Say again, David?
I agree with that. That's what, I put 1/4 inch steel the whole way down my driver's door. I figured whoever hit me, I'd take a shot on that before I took one in my front wheel. And I'm not quite sure who was in that 505 wagon, but I know I gave him that door quite a few times to avoid taking a wheel shot. Him and we duked it out pretty good up there. But yeah,
Ryan Boyd.
Veteran officials definitely come in handy.
Yeah.
We've only got about 10 minutes to go. We've got the Sauce podcast coming up at 8 o'clock here on FingerLakes1.com. We've got more action coming up this week. We've talked a little bit about what's coming. Tomorrow is the first night of qualifying at Dunkirk, the Chautauqua County Fair. Rick Warco oversees that. They still run full-size Imperials, and they run them with roundbacks, and they're heavy built cars. It's going to be a good time. We're going to be out there. Wednesday night, we're turning around. We're heading down to the Broome County Fair in Whitney Point. Thursday night, I think we're going to Rolling Wheels, but that's for the circle track stuff. So Derby guys get the night off. Saturday, we turn around and you got two options. You can either go to Canandaigua Motorsports Park, Ontario County Fair with Total Destruction, Demolition Derbies. They've got the Cuba Rules Heat, which everybody's looking forward to. 1,000 to win, full payback for the cars that enter on top of the regular program. Or you can go to Clarion, Pennsylvania, and you can see Pete Hansen run.
Plus, it's $1 a mile for what they tow.
And $1 a mile for what the winner tows in Canandaigua for that Cuba Rules Heat. The Imperials are back, so that's another incentive to go over there and check that stuff out. And
don't forget Plymouth County.
Plymouth County Saturday, yep. And
if you really want to go for a road trip,
yeah. If you want to load something up and go all the way to Iowa, you're more than welcome to. Brandon's got a good program there. And Sunday we wrap it all up. The 8-day stretch ends with another trip back to Dunkirk, New York, where they're going to have feature night over there. Full round of heats with the small cars and with the big cars. There's tons of Imperials being built for out there, and there's a lot of other old iron, nasty entries that are being put together as we speak, as everybody's getting ready for that. So there's still lots of stuff to come, and the summer's only just started now here. We've had about 2-3 weeks of the season in, and we still got probably through Labor Day before we can call it quits. Lots still to come. And August 10th, I almost forgot. Wood Booger Demolition Derby is August 10th at Lebanon, Connecticut. They got an event as well, and that's their next event. I don't think they have anything until then, do they?
No, that's it for them until then. August 10th at Lebanon, Connecticut. It's a great little fair. We hope you come out and support it. It'll be a good time.
August 10th, I have to be in Sandusky, Ohio. Back at the Erie County Fair.
That's unfortunate. Oh, let's not forget to August 2nd, Lebanon, Pennsylvania. Smashmaster Show took that over for this year. And August 6th, I'll be in Front Royal, Virginia for a Stony Roberts Derby announcing down there. But it used to be Stony Roberts. Now the fair's taken it over. That's why I'm there this year.
I heard that there were some changes. That was the one that Sean Okenauer was talking about, right?
Yep, for sure. So, yeah, pretty busy. This is our busy season for sure. I mean, this is the way to do it.
I'd just like to say thanks, especially Keystone Nationals. By far, one of the most quality, upstanding group of officials that I have ever dealt with in my life of Derbyan. By far, bar none.
Absolutely.
Yes. I never in my life treated so well quality, spoke with respect from the word I pulled into that line until the last time I pulled into that line. There was any ignorance at all. Just like they were on the same level you were. They were no better than you. And I see that way too much. You give an inspector a little bit of power, he becomes a total jerk. And he thinks you are no. And I'm telling anybody, by far, that was the best inspection I've ever seen. As of, not finding things, but as in the comfortability that I had being there. They made me feel like I was wanted, I was comfortable, it was so, and I had some things I had to change. My holes in my trunk pan weren't big enough and different small stuff. But
if it was just small stuff, why'd you have to go through inspection 3 times?
Well, the first time I went up, you have your initial.
Ohio,
I'll explain it to you. No, the first time I went up, I had the initial. I went back down. The second time up, my car was running like crap. I thought I got some water and stuff, so I was pissed off. I get up there, and they never painted there was DI legal car. It was 1/8 plate, 6 inches wide on the side of the door and the passenger door. It overlapped 6 inches, which were allowed. But at Brookville, you weren't. But I just left it on there. I figured they'd tell me slice it, whatever. Well, they gave me my whole list to go back down with, but they had forgot to put paint lines on that. They did tell me because they said, "Hey, cut," but they didn't put one of the guys that was following didn't paint it, and they didn't write it on the sheet. So okay. So I go back down to the trailer with the car not running right, and I'm pissed off. You can see the big burns on my hands from my stacks because I go in there and start pulling all my plugs, and I found I had a plug fouled. So, okay, now I'm happy. But while I was down there worried about that, they had told me in my license plate hole I had put a small piece of 1/8 plate just to cover it up, to fill in the back bumper. You got to cut. Originally, it was cut a window in it, but then they weren't quite happy with that. Cut it bigger, and you can leave an inch all around. I got pissed off, and when I went down to change my spark plugs, I forgot about that stupid license plate. I honestly did. I did everything else but that. I pulled back up. He goes, "You didn't do this." I'm like, "Oh God." I fired my car back up, went back down, blew it out, went back up quick, and it was okay, But I was told to do it, just I forgot to do it because I was worried about my spark plugs or my car not running right, And with
David had plenty of headaches with the car not running right, changing carburetors and stuff. I mean, you finally got that thing straightened out when you went out for the feature. It sounded a lot better, but early in the day, boy, your Edsel was struggling.
Yeah. I had some engine issues where I talked to Jeff Baldwin this morning, and hopefully we got this figured out. And,
excellent.
Well, we're going to give her a whirl here on Saturday again at Clarion. So
cool. Excellent.
We'll see how she does.
Well, you better start watching your back, Pete. There's Netzel coming for you.
Man, his car's a lot better shape than mine.
No, when I hit the track, if I'm after somebody, they know within about the first 30, 35 seconds. So.
Good to hear. I like that.
You like to leave on 3?
No, I only did that once when I was about 15 or 16 years old. My first derby. I think when they hit 5, I was back, hit the guy, and back to the guardrails, and headed back before they hit 1.
Nice.
So.
Nice.
Very cool.
Must well make your point.
Yep.
Yeah.
I was just nervous. I remember my first 5 years of derby, and I'd get in there and I'd pull up on the line, and I swear my hand would lock. This hand, and I couldn't move. Like I was paralyzed.
Freeze.
I was like paralyzed. I'm like, oh my God, this ain't going to be good because I ain't going to be able to do nothing. And my hands are all locked on the shifter and the steering wheel. And as soon as the horn blew, it was like, boom, and it was gone.
Right.
But that first, thank God, that time of my life's gone. Now it's comfortable. Most of the time I feel pretty relaxed, pretty comfortable. Even when it's going wrong, when things are going bad.
Yeah, you look pretty composed when we had no steering. You were packed in with 3 dead cars and tires, and you still were able to work your way out of there.
It just.
What you got, Steve?
I just want to recognize the Hammer Time guys that went all the way from Massachusetts. They traveled 500 miles to come to Brookville for the first time. When they got there, they knew that they were pretty much underbuilt. All 3 of them passed inspection on the first try, which tells you that you didn't do enough. They all had a good attitude about it. They went out and had a good time. Sean in the 210 car never came off the line. I never heard from him what happened with that engine. But Tom Taylor Sr. and Chris Carey both got decent runs, and they had a good time. And how about Chuck?
Chuck did an awesome job. That thing was bent.
I was so proud to watch him. He's the 3rd Bucknam now to run at Brookville. Myself and my dad did it before, and he did it with definite style. Pete, I mean, you saw him out there in that half a car. What did you think of his performance coming all the way from Massachusetts?
Oh, he did very well. I mean, and I gave him a couple pokes, nothing serious, nothing wide open, because you got Steve in the background. Pete, just take it easy on him. He's not built. Ask it. And I like Steve, so I'm like, no problem. I know who it is. I'll give him a little poke here or there. And maybe you bend in this corner, bend in that corner. But I don't think I didn't put him out by no means. He did well for the situation he was in, as in the build style. He was definitely way under what my car was built like, just walking by it. And I was impressed. I couldn't believe every time in my mind I was like, I'm going through the field, and even in the feature, and I'm like, brrr, and it's all of a sudden I'm like, God damn, he's still running. I was impressed. I was like, good for him.
He could touch his bumper from the driver's seat, and he was hitting with the oil pan. At the end of the night.
I don't think in the feature.
That thing was sent back.
I don't think in the feature I didn't get the chance to hit him much. I mean, in the heat I did, but
he did his share though.
Mm-hmm.
And, he got down to 8th, and Pete, he lost his steering about as fast as you did, and he was also running around with no steering for the whole time he was running out there too. So
yeah.
But due to some overlap here tonight, we do have to get going at 7 o'clock already. It was a fast hour. Once again, get out there, support your local shows. There's plenty of them around. We've got Dunkirk tomorrow. We've got Broome County Wednesday. We've also got Canandaigua tomorrow, Canandaigua Saturday, Clarion County, Pennsylvania Saturday, and Dunkirk again on Sunday. Check back. We'll try to get a little bit of that schedule out there for you. David Day, thanks for joining us here. Pete, of course, always. It's great to have you up here. Ben Host and Brian Tompkins joining us here. Congratulations to all the weekend winners. Well done. Keep it up, and we'll see you back here next week.